up. And what kind of carnage are we going to see going into the first turn? Only one team will go through. Who will it be that goes through via the B final here? The gate about to drop here at Redbud. And it's a good clean drop as well. Over on the left side. Is that A-Rod? I think
Anthony
it might be,
yeah.
67. So Venezuela getting off to a flying start immediately. A couple of guys going straight on into the bank. And then we've got Carnage at the back there. So that's definitely going to help these guys down the front end. The 120 there of Connolly from New Zealand is in second position as well. Third, we've got Akura of Japan, Alves in fourth, and Lopez, and then Mikula, the FAM Europe rider. Jasiconis, Jasdukas, Fernandez, Felix Fernandez, and then Cordovas, Martin Barr in 11th, Shimoda 12th.
I wondered, you know, A-Rod was one of the rider out front was one of the only riders to not go out on that siding lap, and he gets the whole stretch. So that answers that question, and it's really getting off of that wet grate. There's less dirt, you know, that's get a cleaner launch, and then he was able to accelerate from there.
So Anthony Rodriguez charging downhill. And you see, Broadley Connolly and A-Rod goes down, throws it away, and Connolly leads for New Zealand. Where is his second and third rider? Where is his backup? Natsuki in 13th.
Going to be a messy day.
Carter, yeah, he must have been one of the guys that went down in the first turn because he's in 30th position, but you only need 2 good results from the 3.
Well, there's the other end of that coin. So Anthony didn't go out for the parade lap. He likely didn't know there was a huge puddle on that inside rut. You know, that's the push and pull of not going out.
Is that Barr? So Barr is out. So Barr was in 10th place. So 2 Irish now. Is that the look of the Irish going against them here? Obviously, you got, what is it, Notre Dame up the road, the college football team?
Yeah, yeah.
Up the Irish.
University, yep.
But a quick get up then for A-Rod, Anthony Rodriguez here, but is how much wet mud now on the glove, on the handlebar grip. Talking to Rich Evans, you know, the brother of Mitch Evans from Australia. After their warm-up session, he said actually the track looked pretty good then, but you can see already now after 2 warm-ups and the B final warm-up how much the track has changed. More water has fallen as well, and I'm surprised to see how hard it is underneath.
Yeah, the key for the rest of the day, obviously this race is, it's going to be a mud fest for the next 20 minutes or so, but the key to the rest of the day when we get into the main racing will be how much rain do we get? Because I think they can salvage it, they can get in and do some track work, but if it continues to rain throughout the afternoon, it's going to look just like this or worse.
So Brody Connolly leads.
It looks like it might rain for the rest of the day.
We've got Nicurcio. So Lithuania are leading the way at the moment. Venezuela now leading the way. So it's changing every time we come over. We've got a 2nd and a 7th for Venezuela. They are on 9. Japan on 15 with a 6th and a 9th. But then New Zealand leapfrog them, going to 11 points because Natsuki in 10th place. So a lot of time left to run. It's only a 20-minute plus 2-lap race. And there's going to be riders and teams out there wishing it was still 30 plus 2 as it used to be a couple of years ago. So as it stands at the end of that first lap then, Venezuela on 9 with a 2nd and a 7th. New Zealand on 11 with a 10-1. Japan on 15 with a 6 and a 9. And you would imagine that Joe Shimoda would be one of the riders starting to carve his way through, but it's Akura who is the top Jap at the moment. This was, yeah, Rodriguez front end just getting away from him, and we don't need a translator or a sign language person to tell us what he was thinking when he went through there a lap ago.
Well, and for Joe Shimoda, as you mentioned, that's going to be a really reassuring sign. When he pulls up to the back of his teammate Okura, he's probably wondering, am I going to be the lone soldier? Am I going to be the one to put in a good result and it won't matter? He's got a little bit of help, and that's what we said he needed. He needed at least one of his other teammates to put in a top 10 result. He's getting that so far.
And if you are concerned about the weather and the outcome of the rest of the day here, we are just in a bit of a blip of a heavy downpour at the moment. We are told it will clear a little later on. So hopefully after the B final, I'm sure that the Richies and their track crew will get out and they will try and clear a lot of the slop off the track and open it up as much as possible, because you guys like us here in the booth want a wide flowing racetrack as much as possible. Of course, you can't help the weather.
Yeah, and I think the strategy right now is just let the rain fall. It's going to get as bad as possible, and then we'll push all of that off at the last second and try to present the best racetrack possible. But for now, I mean, you can see it's quagmire. These guys are getting the worst of it. And you see Joe Shimoda still trying to move forward, but yet his teammate is still in 6th, Okura. So Japan actually, they have a shot at this thing. They're in their 3rd at the moment. They have a lot of work to do to catch up to Venezuela, but they're not out of this thing.
Here is Jo Shimoda then, bottom of your screen, the number 98 on the Kawasaki. He is circulating in 9th place at the moment. He's got, or he did have, John Mira just ahead of him. But I can't see Mira there. How far? What was the gap between them, actually? Well, we'll get Shimoda over the line now. Has he advanced? Yes, he has. He's up to 7th, so he's behind the 122 of Cordovas. Miguel Cordovas of Ecuador. And that's him in the first turn, just there in the background. There's Mira. So Mira in 10th. Where's Edmund? So his wingman is in 12th place. So Ireland at the moment in 5th. They will not qualify with 22 points, a 10th and a 12th, 10 plus 2. But it's Venezuela on 7th with a rider in 2nd, Anthony Rodriguez and Lorenzo Locurcio. And he is about 3 seconds behind Arminas Jasikonis of Lithuania. And then the 130 of Alves. So Rami Alves, who's more familiar with people on this side of the pond.
Yeah, and all three of those guys, whether it's Alves or Rodriguez and Locurcio that are on Team Venezuela, they've ridden this track quite a bit, right? They spend a lot of time with Lucas Oil Motocross as well as Monster Energy Supercross. So not necessarily these conditions, but they've ridden this track a lot.
So number 99 there. Is it 99? Yeah. So Toriabi.
Yeah, and he's kind of the lone soldier here. If he can, I don't know that they're necessarily going to need his score, but if something were to happen to Shimoda,
I think that camera might be broken. That was
play.
horrible quality.
Still
That
3
one
points
corner of the
between-
racetrack.
Well, there's Martin Barr, so he's taken the best part of 2 laps to get himself running again. So he knows by now that his result is not going to count no matter what.
And if it does count, it won't matter anyway, right?
Well, exactly. But he, at least his teammates have completed a full lap, so their worst result will be the one that counts. So heartbreak at the moment then for Team Ireland as they circulate in 5th place overall. They're a handful of points down on Lithuania. They're on 22, but it's Venezuela in the qualifying position at the moment on 7 points. As Anthony Rodriguez up and over La Rocco's Leap. See how dark the sky was as they crested the summit there.
Yeah, and I think we're just going to get bands of showers until, you know, maybe we get a clearing this afternoon. And at this point, the damage is done. You know, once the gates drop for those final motos, it's going to be, do we get rain or not?
Arminas Jasikonis, a big Lithuanian coming towards us here with the yellow right arm, the green, the yellow and green there. He is in 4th place. Been on the podium a few times in MXGP, but obviously he's had a rough deal with injuries the last couple of years as well. So good to see him here.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on that very inside gate, and I was wondering if that would pay off or not. It was basically Jasikonis, Rodriguez, and Shimoda were the 3 inside gates, and you see all of them inside the top 10. So clearly that was the move. And you know all of the other teams, Team USA, Team France, Australia, all the players were watching that start. What develops?
Jo Shimoda has been down from 9th to 12th, so he's made a mistake. Maybe pushing too hard like he did in the race yesterday as well in the MX2 qualifier. So all of a sudden, he's jumping down the order.
Yeah, it looked like he had crashed in Sector 3 there, and they needed help anyway. That's certainly not going to get it done. And it's more mistakes. Shimoda yesterday, mistakes. And he had really done a good job of eradicating those this summer in Lucas Oil Motocross, and you see them kind of show up again here today. The good news is that I don't think that they were going to be able to close up the gap to Venezuela anyway, but
yeah.
I'm sure Shimoda wanted a better showing than this.
Man down there in the background almost. Not sure who that was, but Yuki Okura, the lead Japanese rider, then in 6th place as AJ goes down. They were in 3rd anyway, but 7 or 8 points off the qualifying nation, or the qualifying position going through this last chance.
I always found it so peculiar that someone with legs that long would fall over. Like, just put your leg down.
Curcio, isn't it? Yeah, in 5th. JD Gunnick's stickers on the front fender. You found it curious?
Yeah. You know, AJ's legs are so long. How do you just not stick your leg down and use it as a rudder in these conditions? But I mean, at this point, they probably can't see very well. Their hands are covered in mud. They don't have much grip anymore.
It's tightening up. Venezuela on 7, New Zealand on 8. 1 point in it between being in or out of this 75th edition of the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. We've got Connolly leading the way for New Zealand. He's the MX2 rider. Rodriguez, 67, the MXGP rider from Venezuela. Then we've got Alves, Jasakonis, and Locurcio. So we've got the two Venezuelans there, 2nd and 5th. That's where their 7 points is coming from. But 8 with Natsuki, who is now up to 7th, and he's 2 seconds behind Yuki Okura of Japan.
Well, and I was wondering if Locurcio would have snuck by Jasakonis in that crash, so that gives them more of a gap. That drops their point total now down to 5.
And Locurcio's now moved up into 3rd place, so he's gained a position or 2 on this lap, so that's going to open up the gap between 1st and 2nd. Rider going down here, probably. Yeah. Doesn't look... it's Reynisson of Iceland. Yeah, miserable conditions here. I joked with
He's down there making snow angels in the mud, boys.
A little bit, yes.
And of course,
happy birthday to him yesterday, by the way.
Oh, really? A lot of birthdays this weekend.
Yeah,
Kai Rowley, Chase
yes.
Sexton,
Yep.
Ash Manton from GoPro. 40 years old. He looks a lot older, though, bless him.
I'm sure he'll love to hear that.
But yeah, the conditions here and all the rest of it. But I was talking to Davey, and I said, you know what? The last time we came here, we had rain Saturday, Sunday. This year, we've got it on Sunday. If we came back in another 2 or 3 years or whatever, hopefully we'll just get away with it. That Mirror saves it. So John Mirror stays there in 8th place, just ahead of his teammate Stuart Edmonds.
And you see these guys starting to pull their goggles, and really what the problem is, it's not so much the mud, it's the rain, right? The rain and the water gets behind you, or roll-offs or tear-offs, whatever happen to be using, and you can't see.
2 Venezuelans here, Linus Stern, Anthony Rodriguez, and Lorenzo Locurcio.
So I'm seeing some light-colored sky. Other areas are dark, right? And your hope. I'm just looking for glimpses of hope that we might get a break in the weather. It is a little bit lighter in certain sections. I think that's what it's going to be. I think there's going to be times where it's raining and times when it's not. The track crew really has their work cut out for them. You see how wet it is. All of this mud, though, is going to get pushed off.
Yeah.
It's just how much precipitation do we get in those late hours.
I was talking to Tim Cotter this morning as well. I said, who's your meteorologist? Who's the guy in the know with the weather? And he went, he's a good guy. He tells me it's going to be 2/10 less heavy than it was through the night. So he says we're in a good place. It's not going to be as heavy. So 2/10 rather than 10/10 heavier.
2/10 less than this doesn't look great to me. That's not reassuring.
Anyway, I think what he meant to say was it was 2/10 of the rainfall that we already had. So we've had the worst of the rain. So, but yeah, so we've got the 2 Venezuelans, Rodriguez and Locurcio, 2nd and 3rd, quietly going about their business. Where's Natsuki? He is in 7th. Connolly is still there, so it's still 5-8. Venezuela, New Zealand. Japan on 17, so too Lithuania, Ireland, but that's irrelevant at the moment unless something happens. Looks like it's having a break in the weather as well. The rain, just looking out of our window here, does look like it's stopped. That's a godsend for goggles. Nothing worse than drizzle, even when you're on your own. Oh, no, all of a sudden, look, back on again this side.
And I'm looking at just what's it going to take for Natsuki to get this done. He's going to have to get up to 4th if everything else stays constant, so he's going to have to make some moves. He is right behind Okura and Jasakonis, but I think the gap he would need to get up to would be up to Alves to really make that jump. But they do have the tiebreaker. They do have Connolly there winning, so we'll see.
Natsuki.
There's a lot of math being done here, but for Natsuki, he's got to make quick passes. He has to at least move past these riders in front of him.
And actually, not this lap, but the previous lap, lap 3, Joe Shimoda, 2:26.8. He had the purple time on the timing screen as he moves himself back up to 11th. But you look at the leaders, and that was 2:26 lap. 2:34 for Connolly, 2:32 Rodriguez, 2:30 Locurcio and Alves, and then 34. So that was a pretty decent lap on an MX2 bike. 8 seconds quicker than the leader.
Well, and Shimoda he has speed. At the finale of Fox Raceway, when he won the final moto of the season, he was going 5 seconds a lap faster than Team Australia's Hunter Lawrence, and that's wild to think about that he would be going that much quicker, but it shows the level he's capable of. I don't know that he's going to necessarily show that here in the mud, but I think that's a superstar name. If you're not super familiar with Joe Shimoda, you will be soon.
Joe Shimoda.
Joe Rogan.
So Connolly continuously. There's AJ, big Armina Jasakonis of Lithuania. He decided to bring the pit bike this weekend, by the way. Stuck a 450 engine in it.
Yeah, I wonder why he decided. I mean, we're joking, of course. We have a rider here in the USA named Benny Bloss that is similar stature to Jasakonis, and they really make these, giant 450s look really small.
Actually, Guam qualified pretty convincingly yesterday.
Yeah, Benny Bloss had a really great summer, so it's cool to have some of these other personalities in this race from America.
I think
as well.
Shimoda's been down again. Let's have a look. He's in 11th. Yeah, buries the front.
And you saw him get out of that main line, got a little high, and then he lost, you know, all his weight's on the front there. Helmet visor bent down now. It's just not been a great weekend for Joe.
I think he's already thrown his goggles as well, hasn't he, as well, maybe? Unless that was the flag on the goggle strap. Well, that's the way to do it, around the outside.
Yeah, you get a glimpse there of how hard it's raining at the moment. And Team Venezuela, this is great, right? This would be a big moment for them to get into the A final. It is really coming down out there at the moment.
And actually, you know what? If when it rains like this, it dilutes the ground, doesn't it? Yeah, it makes it a little bit mushy, but that's just easier to push away. It's not heavy on the track. It's just deeper ruts. Yeah. You know, the rain will just wash everything away. You know, as soon as when you get the slushy parts, it's not sticking to the bikes.
Yeah, and thankfully, again, all of this dirt that we're looking at, this mud, hopefully will be pushed off for the main motos and we'll have a drier racetrack. But if it comes down like this again, if it's raining like this at 2, 3, 4 p.m., there's really nothing they can do. We're just going to have a muddy afternoon.
No, I'm confident that the track crew here, they know the place. They've been here in all conditions, all seasons, all weathers. As soon as the first rider is over the line and they can start work in that first turn, down the start straight, through the first few corners, and everywhere else on the track, fix the jump faces, they will be out there. They're going to need a lot of manpower to do it, though, and maybe woman power if needs be.
Yeah, and I think you need a little bit of a coordinated effort between the meteorology team and when is the window? When are we going to have the best effect, and wait till the last possible second of rain to push all that dirt off, because otherwise you just expose all the dry dirt to more rain if you don't time it correctly.
It's back to 2 points between Venezuela and New Zealand, with a fourth and a second for Locurcio and Rodriguez, because Rodriguez now down to fourth. The 130 of Alves has now found his way up into third place. So 6 and 8, still no breathing room for Venezuela to switch off at the moment. And A-Rod here, he's only 2.5 seconds clear of AJ at the moment. Only takes like a little moment just to get stuck in a rut. All of a sudden, you're under pressure again. But AJ will be, A-Rod will be more than, aware of that situation. Here is Lorenzo Locurcio. He had a torrid time in Mantova last year when Venezuela were there, broke his nose in the free practice. But,
yeah, I remember, I think we did even a pre-grid with him down and just trying to breathe through bandages and all sorts of stuff.
But anyway, he completes lap 5, or is it lap 6? Locurcio's leading. So we've lost Brody Connolly. He is down in second at the moment. So the Kiwi, it might just be that the pace of Lorenzo Locurcio is just that much better. Yeah, 5.5 seconds the gap. 450 against 250 would be, 231, 239. I'm just wondering whether he did lose a lot more time, though, because he was lapping in around about 233s was Connolly. So to lose 6 seconds, I would argue that he made a mistake somewhere. So the gap now back 5 to 8. A 3-point buffer for Venezuela. And with less than 2 minutes to go, it's going to be, 3 or 4 laps, because he'd already gone over the line. 231. May just get the 2-lap board next time around.
And you really can't overstate how easy it would be to make a mistake on this racetrack right now. Just one simple error is going to cost you 10 seconds, no problem. Put your foot down in the wrong place. And we saw Jessiconis go down, just simple mistake.
And AJ has been passed. So Rodriguez is now down to 5th. AJ is up to 4th. That's at the top of the hill here. So, it's Jessiconis pushing Rodriguez back. That'll pull it back to sort of 5-7, that 2 points.
Yep, and Arminas is showing his experience, right? He's been in so many races like this throughout his MXGP career.
Well, this is this is like a track in Lithuania in summer.
Right, and for A-Rod growing up in Venezuela, he races in Brazil. No, I don't think he faces conditions like this.
Brazil, it rains, believe me.
Well, yes, correct, but typically their tracks are super hard packed.
Moly, mole.
Soft sands, ruts like this on this stage, probably not all that common. I would just, the point being, AJ has a lot more experience in conditions like this.
I could do with taking that ramp home tonight just to get out of B parking.
I think everybody might need a little bit of help from that ramp tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, there is Lorenzo Locurcio, the Venezuelan. up through that sand wave section. Deep yesterday, even deeper today. Cool that they've got half a dozen TV screens around the racetrack here, so the fans don't feel like they're missing out. They're seeing the same images of what we're seeing. But Lorenzo Locurcio being absolutely immaculate. Didn't make the best start, but he was in the top half a dozen or so, just like his teammate, which is important.
Yeah, for those of you who have never been to Redbud, which I'm sure is many of you on MXGP TV here, Redbud is almost a track of two sides. You choose one side or the other to really view from, and those televisions really bring the whole track back, experience back to you. So really, really good idea by the Ritchie family, and of course, in front to bring that.
So 2 to go then. Lorenzo Locurcio still has a 5-second advantage over Brodie Connolly, who has matched Locurcio's lap time this time around, 2:32, the young teenage New Zealander. Natsuki is up to 6th, AJ up to 4th, Rodriguez 5th, so yeah, still 6 points, 8 points, the first and second place riders, or nations I should say. There you go on the screen. So Venezuela with their 6 points, that is because they have a rider in 5th, with AJ in the with Rodriguez in the MXGP category, and the open class rider Lorenzo Locurcio, and Natsuki closing in on Rodriguez. This is going to be an important pass. Who is ahead of them as well? Where's AJ? AJ's just the other side of the jump, so we still could have a situation where, oh, there's AJ already through the rollers, so it might not be enough. So Natsuki will pick a point back here as he goes past Rodriguez. And Connolly, yeah, actually, Rodriguez was able to triple there.
Yeah, you see him squeeze a little bit, just move over a little bit and intimidate Natsuki's line, that's smart racing. That's racecraft by A-Rod there.
So it looked like he was going to go back, claim a vital point, but it might have been his final opportunity to do so.
Well, and Stewie Edmonds is applying all sorts of pressure to Natsuki, who actually goes by. So Stewie Edmonds on the charge. It's going to be a little bit, too little too late here for Team Ireland.
He's passed him.
Yeah, really nice ride here from him.
So Stewie Edmonds, late charge for him. That's going to dent the chances from New Zealand anyway. The rider just ahead, yeah, there's Natsuki, New Zealand. Stewie Edmonds just ahead of him in the green. The Leprechauns are here as well. They don't care if it's raining. So as it stands now, barring any crazy mishaps on the final lap.
Martin barring.
Barring. But yeah, Venezuela looking like they're about to go through. There's Rodriguez, he is in 5th place. His team leader is already in the final sector, making his way probably up Larocco's lead, as Edmonds also goes through. So there is a pass that New Zealand need. Rodriguez just looking like he's riding tight. There's Natsuki right back in the fray as well. Rodriguez knows he has to fight for every point, every place. He gets back alongside Stewie Edmonds. Edmonds makes the pass stick though. Locurcio over the line. He wins the race. Oh, we're on to the final lap, sorry. So Connolly there in second, about 8 seconds further back. Alves, AJ, Edmonds up to 5th, Rodriguez 6th, Natsuki 7th. And it's still 2 points. It will be down to 1 again as Natsuki now down the inside of Rodriguez. Where is Akura? He's about 6 seconds further back. Can't imagine A-Rod just giving up a 6-second gap on this final lap, but you never know. He's just riding tight.
Yeah. Well, of course, these nations want to be in the A final. That's why they're here, and I wonder they come across and say, oh, you won. What's your prize? Well, you get 70 more minutes of mud racing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, the bad news is you're in the B final. The good news is you qualified for the A final. You had to get through the B final to do it. And on conditions like this, there's nothing worse for the rider, for the mechanic, just to reset that mind. Big sigh of relief, but it's just like, man, it's going to be a tough day already.
And I think there's a misconception. You see A-Rod going for the double there to try to get back around Natsuki. There's a misconception that, they're going really slow. This must be a lot easier on them, their heart rate, physical effort. This is brutally tough. Every inch of their body is holding onto this motorcycle so tightly to keep it upright.
So Natsuki, can he find a way past Stewie Edmonds to get it back down to 8 points? So 1 point deficit, yes or no? Sun's coming out, look, all of a sudden. Redbud, make the most of it.
Don't tease me, Paul. I'm in no emotional state for you to tease me with the sun right now.
I noticed you arrived late this morning. Struggled to get out of bed.
There were tears. I won't lie to you, there were tears. Tears and coffee.
Yeah, the tears diluting the milk in your coffee,
Well,
in your cereal.
I'm hoping it's the last tears I'll shed today.
Jesus on the right-hand side there. He's
Yeah.
had his haircut since then,
Hey.
though. Team boss.
Yeah.
So here is Lorenzo Locurcio. 8-second advantage with 3 corners to go. He can't do any more than he is doing. He'll be relying massively on his teammate, Rodriguez, who is back under pressure from Natsuki. But even if Natsuki finds his way past, it'll still be 1 point the difference, and that's all that matters as Venezuela look to go through. But there is still a little bit of riding when you think of the riders on the racetrack where they are. Muted celebration there from Lorenzo Locurcio. He will have a bit of a wait now, because here is where the battle is. Here's his teammate, the second rider in shot, queuing up behind a back marker. Doesn't need that on the final lap. Where's Natsuki? I think Akura's gone through as well. So might be that Akura has found his way past Natsuki. Breathing space for Rodriguez. We'll soon find out as we hit the line. So Connolly over the line, second, Alves, Jasikonis, Edmonds. And then Natsuki up to 6. Rodriguez, that's where it was. So Natsuki found his way through. Rodriguez 7, Akura 8. They tie on 8 points, but it's going to be the worst throwaway score. Let's have a look. Yeah, 31 for New Zealand with Reese Carter, who went out on the first lap.
First turn crash.
And then, 22 for